In Terror and Fury, Terror recounts the night the atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima, as that also happens to be the night he died, as he was in Japan fighting a horde of vampires that happened to have manufactured a super serum. But as Terror recounts the story, Vesper asks if the vampires have this serum that enhances their abilities, how come they haven't already overrun the world? Now these are answers the group just doesn't have, and they don't know how much time they have until it's too late. Now Terror and Fury head to the arsenal as Vesper has a plan to stop these vampires. She has intel on the vampire fortress about an hour north of Manhattan. Terror fits himself with plenty of high projectile weapons and explosives. Terror and Fury are about to walk into the lion's den, but all Fury needs is her whip. Terror is completely locked in until he sees the castle, and it triggers some old memories in his head. Memories from when he was a soldier. Memories from when he had a family before they died. But as Terror is thinking back to memories of old, Fury tells him it's time to move. By the time they reach the castle, Terror has locked in again, and he promises himself he won't be distracted. Fury uses her whip to pull these two vampires together, while Terror uses his blade to violently impale them. But as Terror sees a camera watching them from above, he knows that all hell is about to break loose as they get swarmed by a fuck ton of vampires. Now Terror is ready to get some killing done until he spots one vampire that just so happens to look like his long-lost wife. But Terror knows he has to let go of all these memories that are hunting him. Terror pulls out the M60 and starts ripping through these vampires. The silver bullets for this thing costs a fortune, but Terror doesn't give a fuck as it's not his money. As Terror blasts through these vampires, Fury uses her whip to violently behead several vampires. But once again, the memories are calling back to Terror as he starts remembering his dead family. But Fury is there to wake his ass up as she holds a heart in her hand, telling Terror to get his head in the game. Terror locks back in as he pulls out his shield and starts to violently behead several vampires. As they get through the last of them in this area, Fury asks him if he feels better, but Terror tells her not at all. But Terror and Fury would go to confront the main vampire that's in charge of manufacturing this serum, Vane. Terror and Fury are rushed by several vampires that are jacked up on the serum. But every vampire they tear through brings them one step closer to Vane. But Terror would see a blast from the past that he's not expecting whatsoever, which would be his sergeant that he thought was killed back in Japan. The sergeant charges Terror as Fury starts getting overwhelmed by multiple vampires. As Terror is fighting his old sergeant, Vane grabs Fury by the neck as he wants to make good on his promise to rip out her throat. Terror and Fury eventually get overwhelmed and they both get subdued by all the vampires jacked up on the serum. Vane even goes on to tell Terror that he's the one that killed his family. It wasn't on purpose, it was by accident. Nevertheless, he enjoyed it. As Vane summons his vampires, he tells them to rip Terror and Fury apart and only leave Terror's heart. He wants to see if it's as delicious as his son's was. But just as all is lost, there's a big-ass explosion as Vesper busts through the wall with the cavalry. Vesper tosses Fury a prototype gun powered by micronuclear reactors. The gun emits an energy beam 1,000 times more powerful than the sun. Terror uses this gun to absolutely eviscerate the sergeant, but Vane makes a run for the serum as he's planning a quick escape. Vane hits Terror in the mouth and then tries to hop on a helicopter, but Terror is on that ass as he grabs onto the ladder dangling from the helicopter. As Terror and Vane start fighting on the rope ladder, Terror remembers one last trick from Japan as he pulls the pin on his grenade belt. There's a huge explosion that seemingly takes out both Terror and Vane. Later, back at S.H.A.D.E headquarters, the group would give Director Drake a sit rep and the director would congratulate everybody on a job well done. Fury is welcome to S.H.A.D.E as they tell her they have a feeling her and her partner are going to make quite the team around here. But elsewhere in the infirmary, Terror watches the meeting from a TV screen while lying in the infirmary. Terror figures that he survived, so Vane probably did too. But that's a problem for another day. For now, he's going to push the blackness out of his mind and let his thoughts give way to something much better like hope. The end. Thank you for watching.